What's up, guys? Thank you so much for joining me here on my channel again today. If you are new here, my name is Amber. Welcome. Thank you for checking out my video. On this channel, we talk about fragrance and everything fragrance related. So if that sounds like your jam, and if you're a fragrance junkie, then please consider subscribing. In today's video, we are going to be talking about my top 5 favorite fruity fragrances to wear in the colder months. So if you are a fan of fruity fragrances but did not know that there were some that were super appropriate for fall and winter, then please stay tuned. So fruity fragrances. I have come to the conclusion that this is actually my absolute favorite genre of fragrances because I think it's criminally underrated. I think that most people relate fruity fragrances to be very young, very juvenile, very immature. I highly disagree. I think that most cozy and comforting thing to wear when it's cold outside is a fruity fragrance when it's done the right way. Not all fruity fragrances are equal, and some of them, in my opinion, can be incredibly elegant and incredibly refined. So the first fragrance that I want to talk about is probably one of the most successful, affordable blind buys of the century for me. And this was an Amazon find. This is from Al Ibda, and this is Gold for Women. I'm absolutely obsessed with this thing. I mentioned it a few videos ago. If you are a fan of L'Entrée from the Givenchy line for women, it's a very bubblegum, sweet tuberose kind of smell. This is a nod to that, but it's less than $30. It is 100 ml. Super heavy, substantial bottle, and it's a little bit different. It does have that Middle Eastern flair to it because it is a Middle Eastern fragrance. There's definitely that depth and that spicy undertone to it, which is very addicting, and it's very present in the first 2 to 3 minutes of the fragrance, but then it dries down to that sweet bubblegum tuberose, that bubblegum sweet white floral. There's also a lot of peach blossom in here and a lot of apple. The apple for me is what really makes this appropriate for fall and winter. It's bright and deep at the same time. That tuberose keeps those fruity notes keeps it from being too lifted, should I say. There's a lot of grounding depth to this fragrance. Something about that golden apple note, because it really does have sort of like a golden, juicy quality to it. I think that that's very cozy in the fall and winter, and so you can definitely get away with a fruity fragrance like this in the cold weather, and I think it would be really comforting and bring some sunshine to the dark and gloomy season. So that is Al Ibda Gold for Women. The next fragrance that I want to mention in the fruity category for fall and winter is Ralph Lauren Woman. I have not talked about this in a long time, and I have been loving on my bottle very much, as you can see. This also is a tuberose dominant fragrance, but it's really, really dominant also in pear. The pear tuberose combination is really something special in here. And pear can take on a much more syrupy quality than apple can. Pear can go a little bit deeper, a little bit more overripe, whereas apple stays very nice and bright and happy. Pear can be a little bit darker. And this has almost like a dark pear cider feeling to it. And then the tuberose in here has much more of its natural quality where it goes a little bit powdery, maybe even a little bit hand lotion to some people, but it really does have that full-bodied white floral base to it. But that pear is very syrupy, and I think it balances the floralness really, really well. So this is very autumnal to me. This makes me think of orchards for some reason, but I think that that's a solid, solid pick if you really like a good, deep, fruity fragrance in the fall and winter. I think Ralph Lauren Woman is a great, great choice. And I actually am looking to purchase a much larger full bottle of this because I love it so much. And this is a year-round scent for me. I always reach for this because it's easy, it's crowd-pleasing, it's elegant, it's fruity. Most people would enjoy this scent. So, Ralph Lauren Woman. My next favorite fruity fragrance in the fall and winter is from Molinard, and this is Vanille Fruitee. This is awesome, and it's not at all what I expected it to smell like. I really expected it to smell like caramel, but this is a whole different level of fruity. So the previous ones that we talked about were very juicy, very syrupy, very bright. This, think of dried plums and dried raisins, and even maybe dried apricots or peaches. This is dark, dried fruit. The vanilla really comes through. It's a deep vanilla. It's a little bit velvety, almost like a fruit cake. Think of like dark, sticky fruits and vanilla in the background. Yeah, this is like velvety, gently powdery vanilla and sticky dried fruits. Oh, this is so good. This sits very close to the skin. It's a little quiet. And this is something that I spray on when I have a big cozy sweater on, when I have the office to myself or the house to myself. This is so comforting. To me, it's like a warm hug. I love this scent, and I don't hear enough people talk about it. I think it's very well crafted. The smell is so appropriate for fall and winter, especially if you like the idea of like a dried sticky fruit and vanilla kind of like baked fruit cake kind of scent. Oh, it's so good. It's so comforting. And I think this would be a great seasonal scent for the colder months. So that is Vanille Fruitee from Molinard. My next pick for a fruity fragrance in the colder months is Burberry Woman. I hear that they have reformulated this, and that's why the cap looks different. The cap used to be a different shape. It was like a dome. And I'm trying to search high and low for an original bottle. Now, if it has, because I'm very familiar with this, with the original scent, if they have reformulated it, they have done a really good job. So this is not a drastic departure. Now I need the original to compare them side by side in real time. It's probably one of the better reformulations I've ever experienced because it's so close to the original. So I still highly recommend it even if you cannot get the original bottle. So what does this smell like? This is peach and apricot. There's some apple up top as well. There's a little bit of musk in the base, but there's a heavy dose of vanilla. Almost smells like there's a little bit of allspice or cinnamon, but that peach and apricot in there, guys, I love a good apricot note in fragrance. I think it's so underrated, but if you love fruit and you want the opposite of light and bright, this is deep, dark, golden, thick smelling fruit. That peach is so delicious. And fun fact, this is actually my mother's signature scent. I gifted her a bottle for Christmas, and then I also gifted myself a bottle just because it reminds me so much of her. She's the only one I've ever met that wears this, and so I always want to have this on hand. I want to have my mother's scent with me for the rest of my life. She is alive and well. I hope to have many years left with her. But I love that she has a signature scent because I have something that reminds me of her. So I will always have this in my collection regardless of how I feel about the scent itself. Would I wear this? 100% yes. But this is my mom. This is my mom. It's a little bit spicy. It's sweet. You get that vanilla and apricot and peach, and it just smells like well-seasoned dark fruit. And it's delicious. I absolutely love this. So that is absolutely a fragrance that would do so well in the cold weather. This really shines when it's cold outside. So if you have not tried it, I would get your hands on Burberry, and it's just Burberry for Women, the original. This next fragrance is one of my favorites, and I don't think it gets enough love here on YouTube. This is Casmir from Chopard. This is from the 90s. It is a 90s fragrance, and this has been reformulated as well. The original bottle has a red emblem on the bottom of the bottle. So I want to get my hands on an original still. They're very hard to come by. So I want to get my hands on an original and compare them side by side. If you would be interested in that video, because I know this fragrance has been around for a long time, please let me know in the comments down below if that would be interesting to you. But I absolutely still love this fragrance, whatever formulation this is. What I would encourage you to do not judge this fragrance simply smelling it from the atomizer. When I smell this fragrance from the atomizer, it smells very old and a little bit like cat pee. It smells really gross from the atomizer. And I don't know what type of metal this is. I think the metal is affecting the fragrance somehow. So I highly encourage you to spray this on something, whether it be a tester strip or skin or your clothing, because the wear experience is so different. What does it smell like? Again, we have apricot. Again, it's one of my favorite notes, so there's no surprise here. There's peach in here also. It is like, it's not overly gourmand. A lot of people say this has like a pie type of quality to it. I don't really get pie necessarily, but I get sweet, sticky apricots with like this tart peach. So if you imagine like a pot of sliced apricots and peaches stewing on the stove and almost caramelizing. That's what I get here. There's a really tart peach in here though. It's like it almost translates like a white peach. Oh, it really smells like the juice looks. It smells just like this. But I'm telling you, do not smell it straight from the bottle. This atomizer is tarnishing the way that the fragrance smells. But thankfully, when you spray it, it's true to what the fragrance actually smells like. So I love this on the skin so much. It's velvety, sweet, sticky apricots with a bite. Oh, it's so addictive. It's so addictive. This would be really specific, so sample, but you can find this for less than $30 for 100 ml as well. I love Casmir from Chopard so much. If you love vintage fragrances, you'll probably still really like this. But fruity fragrance for the fall and winter, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I would actually not enjoy this in the hot weather. This would be really annoying in high heat, but it's perfect for fall and winter. So that is Casmir from Chopard. Last but certainly not least, we have Unforsaken from Kerosene Fragrances. This is amazing, you guys. A lot of people get the mandarin and coconut that's in here, which is why I've listed it in this list, because there are some fruity qualities to it. It's not a tropical coconut. It's not sunscreen. It's like a waxy, thick, vanillic type of coconut. And the mandarin is in there. There's mandarin and clementine as well, but it's not overly citrus. It's just the right amount of fruity. It's sweet, it's vanilla. It's like a powdery, fluffy, indolic jasmine covered in vanilla. The jasmine really punches through, but the vanilla softens everything that's animalic about jasmine and everything that's harsh and everything that's too heady. This is amazing, you guys. This is amazing. On paper, the orange citruses really come through a lot more than they do on my skin personally, but I really get that blossom. It's almost like jasmine is blooming on your skin. That vanilla, jasmine, indolic, intoxicating scent. And I know that Unforsaken is one of their best sellers. I definitely see why. If you're a white floral lover, but you love a good fruity nuance, check out Unforsaken. Seriously, guys, this is addictive and super, super sexy also. So that's Unforsaken from Kerosene Fragrances. All right, guys, so those are some of my favorite fruity fragrances for the fall and winter. If you are a fruity fragrance lover like myself, of course, leave your recommendations down below. If any of these surprised you, or if you didn't really think about wearing fruity fragrances while it's cold outside, did any of these change your mind? Please sample them. I would love to follow up with you and see what you thought about any of these in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. And please consider subscribing to this channel if you're a fragrance junkie like myself. Thank you for joining me here on my channel today, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.